You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Since 96, MLS has been the youngest soccer league. From 10 teams to 30, playoffs to parity. Battered MLS bring local guests to cover games. Analysis firsthand, not Google like other lames. Stats and recaps cover the West and East. Can't forget, we're on Sean Johnson, watch every week. DPs for the elite, 10 Gam get you the vets. Playoff trees as American as it gets. It's time to turn off the world, grab a drink and let's go. We're Battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show. Battered MLS fans, so lock in on
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Welcome everybody to episode number 86 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I'm your host, David Gunnar, and alongside me, I got two other Battered fans. So let me start from my left to your right, Mr. Nicholas from the Sounders Scuttlebutt. How are you doing, sir?
Doing really good. Great to be back on with you. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream. We were talking before the show started about how you guys are enjoying nice Halloween weather, and here people are getting excited because we got our first breeze of the winter. So we're celebrating the 80-degree breeze, and shout out to you guys for enjoying actual weather. Connor up in Minnesota, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be back on here. It's thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be with you here, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys taking the time. And Soccer Daddy, yes, we are late. That's on me. My son had something that I had to deal with. So unfortunately couldn't get here on time, but we are here. And as you can tell, we usually have four people on screen to talk about two games. Unfortunately, LAFC and Austin both bowed out. So we are just here with Seattle and Minnesota, but we are going to touch on the LAFC game real quick. Did you guys happen to watch either the highlights of the game? Because I will tell you, I thought LAFC, even though Austin did play them well throughout the season, LAFC was undermanned both those games that they lost to Austin. I thought that LAFC would run away with it. Ended up being a 2-1 win. Maybe some people say controversial because some people say that some of the goals that LAFC scored were offside. Your thoughts on the LAFC Austin series, Connor?
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch it. I was at a little pre-Halloween thing with my kids last night,
Nice.
so couldn't get a chance. But I did see the stats, and it looks like it was a pretty back and forth game based on the stats. LAFC with more shots. It looked like Austin had a little bit more possession. And it looks like an own goal is basically the only difference between the two of them. So it's unfortunate for Austin to be able to not come away with the upset in the first game. But LAFC, I mean, they've been hot lately, so it's no surprise to me that they would take it in game one.
And the second goal in LAFC was just Suns, just a little Sun brilliance as always. Nicholas, any thoughts on the LAFC Austin series?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just feels like it does feel a little inevitable. It feels like a warm-up for LAFC, although this game was a little bit closer than I did expect, given LAFC's form. But, you know, the team's just rolling. It's really scary to see Son, you know, hitting his stride.
And then the criticism of LAFC, I was talking to Eric, which usually joins us, and I asked him if he could tell me what he thought about last night's game. And he said, well, Cherundolo, way too late with the subs, as is usual with Dolo. And then he said that they got that game-winning goal off his son. Son's brilliance wins them the game. Physical game. But I think we all expected LAFC to win. I think we were surprised that maybe they didn't look as solid as they have looked going into the playoffs. But does anybody think that LAFC won't advance over Austin? Connor?
I don't think so. I think LAFC, I mean, as I said before, the LAFC has been hot. Son and Denny Bouanga have been the best duo in the MLS since Son came over to LAFC. So I think that LAFC, I mean, Austin might have a little bit of an advantage in game two going back to Austin, but LAFC, they just look really, really good right now. They look really nice and attacking. They're playing quickly. They have chemistry and composure. So I think LAFC might just take it in two.
Nicholas, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, playing on the road is always going to be a challenge, but if this was a one-game series, Austin, I think, would have a chance. I think in a 3-game series, quality is going to win out with these two teams. The gap is just too different right now.
Eli Sanchez, that's now with Austin, formerly with LAFC, obviously very bitter that he's not getting to enjoy this LAFC run because he started, I don't know if you guys have seen, he started drawing at Sun, and Sun was giving it to him back. So it's nice to see some spiciness in the playoffs. That's always fun. But much like you guys, I expect LAFC to shut this down and get to enjoy those 3 weeks off. Like any team that finishes in the first 2 games gets 3 weeks off before the second round, which is pretty ridiculous. Any thoughts on that before we move on to the night into your games? The way that this kind of lays out, if you win the first 2 games, you're off for 3 weeks.
Historically, it's not been a good thing for teams. The playoffs are always changing, but usually because of these international breaks, it used to be, the number 1, number 2 seeds would get that bye, and then they'd shit the bed. So it's happened a lot. Those breaks, players need rhythm. So I don't know if it's necessarily a great thing to win in 2.
Yeah, I agree to an extent, but if both teams hypothetically ended in 2, then you guys have the same amount of rest, and then you're on the same playing field. So I guess it depends on the other team in the bracket. Connor, what about you? What do you think about this whole 3-week break if you end it soon?
I mean, I understand why they're doing it. You've got the international window coming up, and it's the one thing you can't say about it is that it's not fair, is because all the teams are going through that whole break, and no matter if they're going for 2 or 3 games. So it's not like any team is going through anything that the other team isn't. So in that respect, I have no issue with it. In the respect that 3 weeks is a long time for any team to lose their kind of their rhythm or their streak. I mean, teams get hot in the playoffs. It could come in real handy to go into a streak, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks off in between games, that's enough to lose your streak. And so
what you're saying is that you want to lose the next game and you want Seattle to win at home.
I want Seattle to win. I would love to be able to get a Game 3 win at home here, so to be able to watch watch us go to the next round at home. But I certainly wouldn't hate watching a very late game here in Minnesota. It starts at 10 p.m. our time when it's over in Seattle. So I certainly wouldn't hate getting a win in Seattle.
All right, so we could transition over to the series Minnesota, the Loons, and the Seattle Sounders. Now, I've always joked that the Seattle Sounders are the Pittsburgh Steelers of the MLS. I feel like once they get into the playoffs, they already have one leg into the Western Conference Finals. I respect the hell out of that team and that franchise in general. But I was surprised at the way that they kind of looked against Minnesota. I thought that they would come out and look a little better. And I predicted that the Seattle would come out of this series, but now losing the first game, obviously Minnesota's on the front foot. Connor, I'll start with you. What did you think about the game 1 on Tuesday?
It was very back and forth. I thought that Minnesota has traditionally been a very counterattacking team, and the Sounders kept that under wraps.
Heavy.
Yeah, and the Sounders kept it under wraps. They kept, whenever Minnesota got the ball, for the most part, the Sounders kept them in their own half, which has been the blueprint basically since LA Galaxy beat the Loons a few weeks ago. So it was a back and forth game, considering that they both had chances. They both had flashes of brilliance and flashes of bad. Seattle kept Minnesota's set piece ability down to a minimum. And you even saw Joaquin Pereira being uncharacteristically sloppy that game too. So I think that obviously glad to come out with the win. It was very, very nerve-wracking to stand through that penalty shootout.
Those are always fun, though, aren't they?
For
people that don't have rooting interest, yeah.
fun is one way of describing it. Sure, when you get the win, that's for damn sure. But I think that going back to Seattle, and I know we'll probably touch base on this in a little bit. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but going back to Seattle, I don't know if we're going to see a lot different. I think that it's going to be another very equally matched game, and might just go to another penalty shootout, just like it did last year for the Loons.
Nick, your thoughts on game 1?
Yeah, I think with this team, there's something about these two contrasting styles of play that make it very difficult for Seattle. This is the third game now. The Loons are the only team in North America to beat the Sounders at home this season. They're the only team that did it. PSG and Botafogo and Atletico Madrid and Minnesota. That's pretty good company there. Of course, that game was a crazy game with, I think, 4 goals in 8 minutes in the 50s. It's just a weird game. But for the most part, this entire 270 minutes of soccer has been mostly, I guess 260 minutes of soccer has been mostly just really cagey, really kind of chess matchy, which isn't always the most exciting soccer.
Right.
Although strangely enough, I thought even though this was a 0-0 draw, I thought this one maybe had the most chances of all the games in the series this year.
Well, Seattle had 15 shots.
I mean,
No, that was, I'm sorry, that was at the wrong game.
No, they have 14, but the expected goals for Seattle was 2.4, which is pretty uncharacteristic for Minnesota's defense.
Mm-hmm.
Even by Minnesota's standards, they only had 31% possession. So even by their sub 40 standards, that's pretty low. I think it really kind of highlights where the good news is we got Jordan Morris back. Yay. We got a lot of our team healthy with the exception of Pedro de la Vega, who that's a big blow. The problem is that with that defensive shell that Minnesota has, we've had so many problems breaking that down this year.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is I saw highlights of moments. I thought that Danny Musovski coming out of the on the second half, teaming up with Jordan Morris, they had a couple late chances to win it. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 forwards in this next game.
What I find interesting is that historically, Seattle has dominated Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, according to this, Minnesota's only beaten Seattle 3 times ever.
3 times. Yep.
And it's twice has been this year.
Yep.
Yep.
It's the first time we've swept the Sounders since we entered the MLS. The only other win was back in 2021, I think, when Robin Lod got the winning goal of that game. And it was in like the 82nd minute. And again, another kind of stagnant game, if I'm honest. If I remember that game, I mean, I remember it because it was the first time we'd ever beaten the Sounders. But it's to be able to get the sweep was pretty great for Minnesota fans this year.
Get that monkey off your back.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, and
we always
then
have
to start off with this game 1 win, I'm sure you guys are feeling great.
We are feeling great. Yeah, definitely the game 1 was a big step in the right direction. And especially considering coming into this series, Minnesota fans, the thought of facing Seattle in the playoffs was dreadful. It was
Nobody wants to play Seattle.
No way, and especially not us. I mean, we always go back to the 2020 Western Conference Final.
Western, yeah, it's such heartbreaking. Gustav Svensson broke your heart.
I remember. I remember it all too well. I remember pacing around my house for like an hour after the game because I could not go to sleep. I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I would lie to say I wouldn't mind Adrian Heath back on your team, running the team. Brian Schmetzer really had his number.
Ain't that the truth, though?
But I do think this second game is gonna be a little bit more offensive minded for Seattle. I think they're gonna come out a little bit more. Yeah, because frankly, I love Steph Fry. Steph Fry is a top 5 goalkeeper all time in this league. His weakest part of his game is PKs.
Penalties, yeah.
Yeah. Although one thing that has always been an issue in the past is he would often leave his line early. And I've watched his I'm also a goalkeeper, and that drives me nuts because the few times he's made a save, it's often gotten VAR'd and negated. I think he has maybe 2 or 3 PK saves in his career where it was a save and not a miss. But But this last PK shootout, one thing that was really encouraging is I noticed his technique was a little different, where he started, a good a foot well behind the line to try and minimize that opportunity. So I really don't want to see it go to PKs, but I do think that Minnesota is going to be maybe a little bit more confident in their defensive shell and their mindset. They've done this 3 times, which I really do think is going to benefit Seattle, because once they get that first goal, it makes Minnesota open up, which is going to, you don't want this offense, transitioning on those teams chasing a lead.
Urstino's talking about an uncalled penalty.
Was that the shove in the back?
The Jackson
Kelvin
Reagan.
Yeboah? Yeah, Jackson
Yeah.
Reagan shove. I mean, it was a soft shove. It was a very soft shove, I think. I mean, it could have, the call honestly could have gone either way, I think. But it was
in soft. The heart. I don't want to see that called. I don't want to see that called. Jackson, though, putting his hand on his back, that's one thing. He did kind of follow through a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been like, oh, that's such a bullshit call if it was called. Mm-hmm. But
I feel like it's dangerous whenever a defender extends his arm like that in the box in the first place too, because depending on where the referee is standing, he could see it and say, hey, you pushed him over in the box, I'm going to call a PK on this. I mean,
that could potentially have also been a dog so at that point. I mean, and that could have been that. Yeah. I'd be very curious to hear, pro discuss why that wasn't a call or why that wasn't VAR'd. I know the Minnesota fans definitely were loud in their displeasure of the ref all night.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, Nick, Seattle won the prestigious Leagues Cup title. Are the Seattle Sounders fans happy with this season if they were to bow out in the first round? Are they satisfied?
No, I mean, we are a famously unhappy group, even when we have plenty of reason to be happy that a lot of teams would trade places with us in a heartbeat. I think it's been a really good season. What I'm most proud of is the fact that I really don't think any team could withstand the number and quality of injuries that we've had and do what we've done.
I agree.
Depth that we've had is,
I can agree with that.
It's a big what if. What we could have beat Botafogo in the Club World Cup? What could we have done, in Champions League? What could we have done with our full roster? So, it's kind of, but that's the sport.
It's funny. My co-host always says that he has a second favorite team. His second favorite team is Philadelphia. My second favorite team is by far Seattle. I hope to one day go to Seattle. I've never been there, but I would love to go watch the Sounders game. No disrespect to Minnesota, but I don't know, man. I respect so much. I respect the Sounders so much for what they do. It just they're always so competitive. I think it's really cool. And
actually, on that note, real quick, just a quick side note, because I want to make sure all the listeners are on top of this. Just a reminder that tomorrow morning is the ticket lottery cutoff for the next wave of the World Cup pre-sale lottery.
Right. Yeah.
So come on out June 19th. Come watch the USA take on, I got my Christian rolled on Gold Cup jersey on right now.
There you go.
Come watch USA play, some random team, June 19th here in Seattle. It looks like from the initial ticket wave that the Seattle game will be the most affordable of the 3 USA group stage games. And we're going to take care of you. We'll take care of you right. We'll do it right with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Those ticket prices are frustrating. I don't know.
I have a lot of opinions. The one thing I will say is, if you are in a market looking for World Cup tickets, I go to a lot of events. I spend a lot of money on tickets. The one thing people got to remember is, do not spend stupid money on TBD games right now.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend the money on these pre-sale prices, target a USA game or knockout rounds, because with the expanded 48 team World Cup,
Yeah,
you're going to get Cape Verde versus Vietnam. You're going to. I'm not being flippant, but
I agree.
And no one's
100%.
going to pay $250, $300 for those games once the draw happens.
See,
So
I think that in it might be different for you guys because you actually are hosting some World Cup games over there in Seattle. Because
and we got
Minneapolis,
Vancouver, a 2-hour drive. So
you've
I've got
Vancouver,
11 games to choose from, essentially.
Yep, and Minneapolis has none. Chicago has none. Our closest city is Kansas City, which is probably about a 6-7 hour drive south of us, straight down the interstate, and so it's a little bit tougher for us Minnesotans wanting to go to a World Cup game. A lot of us will be there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think we are privileged enough to have the choice that you guys have to be able to pick and choose who we see in the end, because we have to make the travel arrangements. We have to, and we want to experience that World Cup environment because there's, when's the next time the World Cup is going to be in the U.S.? Maybe not even in our lifetime.
The Women's World Cup in about 7 years. But yeah, I get
that's
the point.
True. Yeah.
Now, I will say this though. One thing that you got going on is being kind of centrally located is you've got that ability to fly into Albany, Rochester, Buffalo, Boston, and then drive to Toronto, I grew up in Buffalo. So, a lot of these cities were less than an 8-hour drive away. I'd follow bands around. I'd go to, sporting events all throughout those cities. So you do have some flexibility there.
Right. Yeah.
But you're right. We've got it really good in the Pacific Northwest right now for the World Cup purposes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Connor, I know you didn't get any World Cup games, but you are still in the driver's seat here. You could get a game 3 here if Seattle were to take this one. How are you feeling going into the next game? Do you think Minnesota is going to keep their show that they've had all season long? Anything that you think they might change?
Well, Nicholas was saying that Seattle's going to come out and become more of an attacking based team in game 2.
I agree. That's what I expect.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the thing is with that is that I think is going to play into Minnesota's hands, because Minnesota has this season sat back and weathered the storm a lot. They have even with only I could never remember the full number of possession, but I think we had like 38% possession throughout the entire season this year, and we still only allowed the second least amount of goals in the Western Conference. So our defense can clearly do the job. And then, as I said before, we are particularly good on the counterattack. We're particularly good on set pieces. We can make a good situation out of nothing a lot of times on the long throws or the free kicks, the corner kicks. So I think that if Seattle comes out with an attacking mind, they could end up, placing a few passes together, getting a goal or so. But I think that for the most part, that's going to play into Minnesota's hands, because they're going to sit back and weather that storm. And then as soon as they get possession, they're going to try and put that counterattack together. Now, the one thing that could break that apart is if Seattle does what they did in game 1. And as soon as Minnesota gains possession, Seattle are on them like white on rice. So I think that as long as Seattle doesn't let them outside their own half, then Seattle has a decent chance of taking game 2. But they have to be careful with the offensive minded game in game 2, because Minnesota can make you pay for that.
Yeah, there's definitely the trade-off there. And when Seattle's been at their best this season, it has been with that high press where people can't get out of their half. And then all of a sudden they've turned the ball over and you've got options of Rusnak, Morris, Musovski, Christian, Rothrock.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Georgie Manungo start on this one. Someone who's going to take people on 1v1, because a lot of what we've done in the first game was pumping balls in on crosses, and that block is really tough to beat. But having someone that can beat someone 1v1, win a penalty, draw some dangerous free kicks. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But what I really like about this matchup, it's not sexy soccer at all.
No.
But what it is it's like a good pitcher's duel, a good batter pitcher's duel where it's going 14, 15 pitches and they keep fouling it off. It's not exciting, but it is cagey and it's very strategic. And so just for the chess match between the two coaches, and I think they're two very, very good coaches. I'm very curious to see how that goes. It just can be really frustrating to watch sometimes.
Right.
Yeah,
I can agree with that. And you know, the exception to that is, of course, the game that happened in Seattle this year when we scored those four goals in those 10 minutes. But I think those are the only 10 minutes that we can actually count as exciting.
It was just chaos. And that was such a weird game. Yeah,
I think it was 3 Minnesota and 1 Seattle in like a span of less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. Minnesota scored. We got it right back. It basically off of each kickoff was a goal. So like the sequence off the kickoff led directly to a goal. It was insane. It was also the game where during warm-ups, the Seattle players protested ownership and the Club World Cup pay us.
Oh, was that the game?
That was the game. So
oh wow.
So a lot was going on in that game. There was a lot of I don't know how much I want to put stock into that game. I think the last two games were much more indicative of what these two teams are all about.
Right. Yeah, I can agree with that. And you know, one other thing that's different too is I do want to give a shout out to my boy Tani Oluwase, who scored a couple against Seattle that one day. He is no longer with Minnesota. He's with Villarreal over in Spain now. He scored a hat trick in the Copa del Rey the other day, actually. And
did he?
Yeah, he did. He
no big deal. Just a hattie.
Just a hat trick for one of the Champions League teams over there. It's awesome. Very happy for him. But you know, losing a weapon like him obviously hinders our squad more than it helps us. And so that's another reason that it's indicative that I think it's gonna be much different this time because you know, we just don't have that attacking edge that we did with Tani, and Kelvin Yeboah hasn't been the same as this year as he was in the latter half of last season. So I think that, you know, to put a long story short, Nicholas, I'm agreeing with you. I think that this is not sexy soccer at all. It's going to be
let's grind it out.
It's going to be a game of chicken, I think. Yeah,
it's playoff soccer. And the thing is, I gotta admit, I really do like Minnesota. I have a lot of reasons to like them as a club, as a culture. I think honestly, Seattle and Minnesota are very similar culturally, extremely similar for so many reasons that we don't really need to get in. We're not going to talk to politics on a soccer podcast, but a lot of respect for them. I want them to have success, but not this year because we're matched up. So you know, it's one of those things where just wait your turn one more year. You know, wait your turn.
So with that,
we still need a trophy, man. Just a single trophy. That's all we're asking for. This year, we kind of
Nashville pulled it out this year with the U.S. Open Cup. So I mean,
yep. Well, we had a fast track going into the semifinals. We had a fast track to have home field advantage throughout the U.S. Open Cup, and then Austin beat us at home in 120 minutes in the semifinal, and so that was a huge.
You can't be losing Austin, man.
No, and it's just, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's awful.
Is it Minnesota and? Is it Minnesota and Austin? There's only a couple teams that have not won a major trophy in MLS.
It might be Minnesota and Austin, yeah, because I know Orlando has one now. I know St. Louis has a supporter shield now, right? I think.
No, they won. Didn't they win?
It might be St.
Yeah,
in the West. Yes.
There's only a handful. I think there's only like 3 teams that have not won a trophy.
Okay.
But yeah.
So Connor, prediction. Do you guys end it in 2 or does this go to 3?
I mean, as you said, Nicholas, this is a chess match. I think that, you know, Brian Schmetzer, I got to give hats off to him. He is the best coach of the last 10 years in the MLS. I think that He's
Him and
absolutely
Wolf
fantastic at what he
Fernandes
does.
are the two, I think, are
Yeah.
the two guys.
Yep. And going back to Seattle, the Seattle, the loudness of not Quest Field,
CenturyLink.
Lumen Field.
I'm like, wait, you had me. We're just going through the whole thing. Seahawks Stadium. No,
Right,
this. No,
Seahawks.
yeah.
Just the whole loud. I mean, I just wonder how much that stadium is going to be packed for that game, because I know they're going to want
Monday
to
night.
full force. Yeah. And
So
it's, and just basing it off of, the brilliance of Brian Schmetzer against the youth and the new, I would say the new brilliance of Eric Ramsey, I would say, because I think they're both brilliant, but in different ways. This one's a tough one to call. I think that in Seattle,
Say it with your chest. Don't be kind. Say it with your chest.
I'm gonna have to go Seattle. I think.
Okay.
Go maybe a 1-0 win for Seattle, because I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think the defenses are going to live up to their name. Unfortunately, historically, Seattle has been a very tough place to win. And I know we're the only ones to get the win in Seattle this year, but I feel like that's a once in a blue moon type of thing. So I think that our defenses are going to come in real hot. They're gonna do their jobs, and it's just maybe it's going to come down to a certain 5 minutes of the game that's going to be the difference maker.
I can't imagine this series ending in 2 either, but okay. So Connor says Seattle this week. I think Seattle also. Nicholas, I'm assuming you think Seattle pushes it to a game 3 also.
I think so. I mean, it's got to be in regulation. It cannot go to penalties. It just can't.
Julian Gressel, your boy Julian Gressel missed one.
He almost didn't make it onto the field. He almost didn't make it onto the field. He was kind of dilly-dallying on the sidelines, and it was only because there was an injury right at the very end that the whistle blew. But yeah, I think a couple uncharacteristic misses, a couple posts for Seattle. But I do think that we've got, even if we can't get it done with our starting 11, I think we've got great options off the bench, and we might see the return of Ryan Kent, who's been out for most of this year, former Liverpool product, came in from, I think, Galatasaray, was definitely showing some flashes. That would be another Georgie Manungu level super sub who is very flashy off the ball and can create something out of nothing. So with that in mind, those two teams right there, or those two players right there, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Can those two players in particular, Georgie Manungu and Ryan Kent, can they create something? Because I don't think the cross and hope we have not been able to break that down all season long when teams have been very defensive, and that's what it's going to come down to. So I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be 2-0. I think the second one's only going to come late when Minnesota's chasing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's characteristic of Minnesota, I think.
FIFA legend Ryan. Great comment there. FIFA legend Ryan Kent, Mr. Spam the Sprint.
I will tell you, I believe that whichever team comes out of this series, whether it be Minnesota or the Sounders, I think they beat San Diego. I don't know why I don't believe in San Diego. Maybe I'm being foolish for not believing them. I just do not believe in San Diego. I think that Seattle and Minnesota, whichever team goes on to the next round, will eliminate San Diego, and they'll find themselves in the Western Conference Finals. Probably against LAFC.
I think I agree with that. I think you're right with teams. You saw St. Louis come out of the gate hot a few years ago. Teams need to learn how to play in the playoffs. And sometimes those expansion teams just don't have it all at once right away, and that's historically been the case. And I think I'll bet on the history proving it again.
But I think it will too. And the thing is about that is San Diego has been a much better team on the road this year than they have been at home. Their record on the road is 12-4-1. That's insane. That's an insane away record for an MLS squad. But their home record is 7-5-5. Not they've gotten less wins than they have gotten not wins. I suppose is one way you can look at that. So I think you're right. I think that San Diego, they're obviously facing Portland this week. I think that they can get the round one win against Portland. I think that any team that comes in off the wild card has a very slim chance of making it past the first round. But then I think you're right that whoever's facing San Diego is going to get the win in San Diego, because I think that Seattle and Minnesota are both hot teams looking for just looking for a big win, and they're going to be looking to make that Western Conference final. But I think that whoever wins the other side of the bracket between LAFC, whether it's LAFC or Vancouver, I think whoever wins that matchup is winning the MLS Cup this year.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And whatever team makes it to the MLS Cup in the West, if they end up against any of the top three teams in the East, whether it be Philadelphia, Cincinnati, or Miami, they have to travel to the East Coast for that final.
Yep.
So you'd have to hope that Charlotte or NYCFC somehow slither their way into the final, because otherwise you're traveling to the East Coast.
Playoffs are wacky, man. Playoffs are wacky. We didn't, I've been to a number of MLS Cup finals with the Sounders on the road.
Just show off. Just keep showing off, yeah.
But it's always that. What's often happened is it's often been the case that we've known we were in and we're waiting to watch the results, and just the yo-yoing of, am I going to Toronto? Am I going to Columbus? Am I going to Miami or Atlanta, or is Toronto coming to Seattle? And just the chaos.
Right.
It's fun though.
It is. And I do think it's going to be an interesting playoff season. I really do. I think we're going to see a surprise at the end.
We'll see some fierce competition. That's for sure. You've got some very good teams that are very well matched for each other, especially when you get into the latter rounds. I think that you'll see some very exciting soccer in the latter half of these playoffs.
Well, Connor, Nicholas, I appreciate you guys taking the time to join and talk a little Western Conference playoffs. Nicholas, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, come join me on Instagram at Cascades2C. Cascades like the mountains, TOSEA, Cascades to see.
All right, and Connor, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, we are Lunacy Podcast. We're everything Minnesota United and Minnesota craft beer scene. You can find us, find our podcast anywhere you can find a podcast: Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, anywhere. And so come give us a listen. We usually release a new episode every Monday. So yeah, we'd love anybody around the country to come listen. Any soccer fans and any craft beer fans.
Absolutely, and we love a little craft beer down here, so that'd be interesting. We have to tune in for that. All right, we appreciate you guys checking us out. Battered MLS fans, we come out with a couple shows a week, roundtable, or it's just me and Chris just talking general MLS. So make sure you join us, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on audio, comment 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And for those in the chat, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And we will be back next week talking possibly Minnesota moving on or game 3, and we'll be recapping everything that happens in the second set of games in round 1. So until the next one, have a good one.